Here we go. We have a question. Find the largest palindrome divisible by k. You have given two integers n and k. An integer x is called k palindromic if x is palindrome and x is divisible by k. So we have to return the largest integer having n digits, that is a k palindrome. And this is a note important. So first test case we have n, means we have to fill n slots. So after filling the slots, the value must be a palindrome and it is divisible by k. And we have to find the largest palindromic value which is divisible by k. So in this case the value is this, because k is this, k is 5. So we have to find the largest palindromic value whose divisible by 5. So this case. Next we have, if k is 4, so 8 is the largest palindromic value which is divisible by 4. Next we have third test case. If you look at the constraint, our k value is very small. So we can utilize this. Our k value is very small. K value is having 1 to 9 numbers. So we can apply divisibility rule. If a number is divisible by 1, divisible by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we can write if and else conditions. It seems easy, but it is not easy. That's why it has so many dislikes. So first of all, if k is 1, so if k is 1, let me draw. So if k is 1, so the largest palindromic value will have all 9s. So it is divisible by 1. So all 9s. So we have to repeat 9 n times. Okay. Next we have k. Next k as 2. So if it is 2, then largest value that is divisible by 2 is 8. So we have to make a palindrome. So our first and last value must be 8, and inside all the values can be 9. So that's what I did here. Every value is 8. If n is 1, so return 8, else our last position is 8. Last position is 8. If our last position is 8, then we have to make palindrome, and our first position is also 8. And all the 9 minus n minus 2 values is 9. If our k is 3, so what is the rule for 3? Sum of all digits is divisible by 3. Sum of all digits must be divisible by 3. So we can say the number is divisible by 3. So if we fill all values with 9, its sum will surely be divisible by 3. So just repeat 9 n times. If our k is 4, so what the divisibility rule for 4? Last two digits must divisible by 4. So we have to Google it for this. So the last two digits must be divisible by 4, and the middle values will be 9. If first we have this condition, our last two values, if our last two values 8, then our first two values will be 8 also. So we have filled 4 values. So if our n is less than or equal to 3, then we repeat 8 n times, whatever the n be. So we have filled the last two values and front two values. So we have utilized 4 slots. So then I have to subtract 4 from n. Then we have 5. Divisibility rule for 5 is the last digit must be divisible by 5. So the last value is 5 and the middle values will be 9. That's all. Next we have 8. Divisibility rule for 8 is last 3 digits Last three digits either can be 0 or can be 8. We want to make largest palindrome, so we will pick 8. So last three values we want to pick 8. So same as here, last two values is 8. Here we have to fill last three values 8. So last three values is 8, or if it is less than 6, so we have to repeat 8 n times. So we have utilized uh, 3 and 3, 6 numbers. So n minus 6 we have to repeat 9 n minus 6 times. Then what about 9? So if you talk about 9, sum is divisible by 9. So every digit can be 9. It is simple. So let's talk about 6 and 7. If I talk about 6, we have either even slots or odd slots. Let's talk about first odd slots. First we have three slots, so we want to fill three values. It cannot be 999 because divisibility rule for 6 is divisibility rule for 6 is the number must be divisible by 2 and 3 both. So the number to be divisible by 2, we have to fill 8 on the last spot and first spot. Then middle values can be 9. Let's fill first middle value 9. So its sum is 25, but the value must be divisible by 3 also. So what is the divisibility rule for 3? Divisibility rule for 3 is the summation of values, the summation of numbers must be divisible by 3. Here it is 25. So the nearest smallest number is 24. So we want to subtract one number. So this is the answer 888. Let's talk about even case. 899, it is 34. So we cannot pick 34. So let's subtract 1. So 888, its value is 32. It is not divisible by 3. Let's take this value 8778. So its summation is 30. Its summation is 30. Now it is divisible by 3. So the number is divisible by 3 and 4, 3 and 2. So we have found the pattern, but let's analyze one thing. We have odd case. Here we have odd slots, and here we have field 9. So let's fill 9 here and 8 in between, because we want to make largest value, largest palindrome. So its summation is 42, and it is divisible by 3 and 2 both. So that's about odd case, and we found the pattern. On the left hand side and on the right hand side, we want to fill store 8, and on the middle we want to store 8. We want to store 8, like here the value is 888. So on the middle we want to store 8, and on the remaining places we can fill 9. That's about, it's about the odd. If n is odd, if n is even, then our first and last value is 8, and we have 4, let's suppose we have 4 remaining values. So for even we have 8778. So let's fill 7 in between and 9 on the remaining places. Its summation is 48, and it is divisible by 3 and 2 both. Our main concern is 3, so the number is divisible by 3. So we found the pattern. Let's code this. So for 6, if it is less than 2, so just repeat 6. If it is even, if it is even, so here talking about if it is even, then its length is 6. So we want to we want to repeat 9 for some number of times. Let's count. So we have 6, 6 by 2 is 3, 6 by 2 is 3, and 3 minus 2, 3 minus 2 is 1. So here we want to repeat one number of times here, 9, one number of time 9 here, and here, and in between we want to fill 7. So that's what I did. In between I filled 7, and on the first and last spot I filled 8, and the remaining spots I filled 9. It's about the even place. Let's talk about odd. If n is odd, then we have n by 2 minus 1. So we have only one place. Actually, n is 5. So 5 by 2 is 2. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So here, same goes here, because here n is odd. So we want to subtract 1. Either we want to subtract 1, or if n is even, we want to subtract 2, because we have utilized two values here, and here we have utilized one value, and L is the repetition. So I have to repeat n 9 L times. So 7, let's talk about 7. We have 7. So in contest, you cannot do this. After the contest, analyzed a pattern. So if you submit k for value 1, 2, 3, 12, then 18 and 24, so you have to submit for 24 times, and after that you analyze a pattern. If the number is if the number is divisible by 6, this is n. If n is divisible by 6, and we got our remainder as 0. If it is divisible by 6, then we have to repeat 9 n times. If the number, if the remainder is 1, 7, if the remainder is 1 or 5, if the remainder is 1 and 5, so we have to fill 7 in between. If the remainder is 1 or 5, then we have to fill 7 in between and repeat 9 some number of times. Let's say L. So what is L here? L is uh, L is, let's say, 5. So 5 by 2, 5 by 2, 2. So we repeat 2 number of times. 1 by 2 is 0. So we repeat 0 number of times. If it is 1 and 5, so we have to fill 7, and if it is, if the remainder is 2 and 4, we have to fill 77. If the remainder is 2 and 4, we have to repeat 9 some number of times, and we want to fill 77 in between. If the remainder is 3, we want to fill 5. If the remainder is 3, we have a pattern for 12. So here, this is not red, but it is, let's suppose it is red. So 4, 44, this is same, 6, 44 and 4. So if the remainder is 3, I'm talking about 3, then we have to fill 5 in between. And if the remainder is 7 and 11, we have to fill 4 in between. If the remainder is 8 or 10, we have to fill 44. If the remainder is 9, we have to fill 6. So let's code this. So this is the divisibility rule, but this is useless in this case. So um, if the number is 7, you can ignore this. If it is divisible by 6, we have to repeat 9 n number of times, as we have to repeat n by 2. So I'm talking about 9. We have to repeat 9 n by 2 times. So if it is 5, so we have to repeat 5 by 2. If it is 11, 11 by 2, 11 by 2 is 5, so we have to repeat 5 number of times. 10, 10 by 2 is also 5, but here I have to repeat 4 number of times. So if the number is even, so just to subtract repetition by 1. That's it. It's about the repetition. So we have to add a prefix and suffix. So we have to repeat 9 some number of times. This is the number of times. So we have a remainder. If it is 1 and 5, so add 7. 2 and 4, add 77. If it is 3, then add 5. If it is 7 and 7 or 11, add 4. If it is 8 and 10, add 44. If it is 9, add 6. That's it. Let's submit this. Thank you all for watching this video.